Today we are doing yet another Phasmid Files video, and this one's a little bit special, which we'll get into later. The species featured today is the Peruphasma schultei, or more commonly known, the black beauty stick insect. Hello and welcome back to Bug Realms. On this channel we like to discuss all things creepy crawly, so if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel. Now I'm really excited to do this video. Now I've wanted to do Peruphasma schultei on a Phasmid Files for a long time, but to be honest with you, they're quite commonly kept in the hobby, and I actually got rid of mine quite some time ago now to make room for some rarer species. But I got my hands from a good friend of mine, Amy, or subscriber Amy, got my hands on some very special Peruphasma schultei over. Now you'll probably already tell from the thumbnail the difference, but here is a picture taken from the Phasmid study group page of a standard adult Peruphasma schultei. So you've got that beautiful velvety black colour, and as you can see there are some red wings there. Now that is your standard black beauty. That is the black beauty people know. Mine, on the other hand, are slightly different. Okay, so here is their enclosure. It's a very large enclosure, and that's because I need to keep these through a couple generations. Now you will notice on the side that we actually have Lamachody species yellow stripe, and the reason is basically it's a bit awkward to explain. I had too many males. There's a male there, there's a male there, there's a male there. I'm not sure if there might be another one in here too, and all these males were swarming my two females, basically all trying to mate at the same time, and it was causing the females stress. So I've had to remove some of the males to live out the rest of their lifespan in here. Now you shouldn't really mix these species because they both have a bit of a spray, but these males are very old, they won't last that long. But the species we're here to see, all these little black ones, let's take a closer look. Ta-da! Can you notice the difference between the picture that you saw and this Peruphasma schultei? The wings. Can you see those beautiful salmon pink wings? This is the pink morph. This is known as Peruphasma schultei pink wing. So it is the exact same species, but as far as my knowledge takes me, they have a slight genetic difference in the pigment. So these would have been red, but where there's been that difference, they've come out pink. Now there is a whole report on breeding pink with red and whether you will get red wing or pink wing, but what I can tell you straight off the bat is if you only keep pink wing, you will produce only pink wing babies. So here we have another little group of them there. You can see the pink wings are flared out yet again because I have disturbed this enclosure and put the light on the top. And as you can see, they can simply fold them away like that one has just done. So massive thanks to Amy for allowing me to buy her over from the pink wing. Now these are not common at all in the UK. Peruphasma schultei as a species is, the pink wing variant is not. So my plan is to get the next generation up and running and then pass on any surplus, and then by the third generation we will have a lot more surplus to pass on for Project Paradise. Really cannot wait. So simply talking of appearance, you can see they have a decent size antenna, they have a velvety black body and normally red wings, but in our case pink wings. They have these yellow eyes that really contrast against that black velvety tone, and it just makes them almost look like a cartoon. Kind of similar to how our yellow stripes are here. You see how they still look derpy and cartoony, and then we go back and so do these. Now I have been after pink wings for around 4 years. About 5 years ago there was quite a few batches in the UK, and then they just vanished, and the only other places I'd known to get them are over in Europe and potentially in Ireland. So we can bring these back into the UK now. So what do I know about the Peruphasma schultei? Well, first of all, if you want to look them up, their PSG or Phasmid study group number is 270. Their CLP number is 21.
Now, stocks were first found, if I've pronounced this right, Cordillera del Condor, which is in Peru, and they were actually found at high altitudes between 1,200 and 1,800 meters, so a high altitude species. Now, the great thing about these is they breed really well at room temperature. You don't have to mess around with heating for these guys, and what makes them even easier, folks, is the humidity gradient. So some people hear humidity and freak out. Oh my god, these guys like it dry. In fact, pretty much bone dry, as do the ova. You can keep the ova on slightly moist tissue paper or moist vermiculite or whatever, but they do fine when they're dry too. I tend to just give mine a little kind of pipette of water onto the tissue for that ova every couple of weeks, and that is it. Now, as adults, I don't even water these guys. Every now and again, I'll give a very little light spritz onto the lower leaves and onto the bottom of the enclosure there. I just use a kitchen towel bottom. And the reason for that is because you have high mortality rates if you put your black beauties in a humid environment. They do not like it. They do not like it one bit. Now, I've just caught this one flaring their wings. Really, really cool. Now, adults look very, very similar. Males are just slightly smaller than females. So handling, these guys are fine for handling. They do have a spray. It is an irritant. Try not to get it in your eyes or in your mucous membranes, like up your nose or in your cuts, because then you'll have a bit of a sting. But other than that, it's pretty much all right. It's nothing like your anisomorpha where it's going to cause you a great deal of pain. More just an irritation. So, as for food plants for these guys, really, really simple. I feed mine pretty much exclusively off privet. However, if I do decide to mix it up a bit, I might add some Aucuba japonica, which is a type of laurel that you can get growing in your garden. And I haven't actually fed them it for a little while, but as nymphs they were taking nibbles. But if you feed it to them from a young age constantly, whoa, lighting Sam, lighting, they will tend to take to it a bit better. Although this is cutting out any detail, I kind of like that silhouette look. Going up on the top now, are you? Alrighty then. So these guys are quite quick to grow. You can get to full adult within 5 months or less, and the ova takes around 4 or 5 months to hatch as well. These ones in my care were about 3 months or less, I think, perhaps even 2 months, but that's because they were being held by Amy before they came to me. I'm not quite sure how long she had the eggs prior to that, but I know in keeping them in the past it was roughly 4 months. Now these guys do not need a large enclosure. You can keep them in an enclosure around 20 centimeters tall, but as I always say, bigger is better. Now you can see this one's younger, it hasn't fully developed its wings yet. God, I love this species. It's quite hard to get filming done while they're in the enclosure because the camera likes to concentrate on the mesh. So yeah, 20 centimeter tall enclosure, really high ventilation, guys. You want a lot of ventilation, which is why mine are in a fully aluminium mesh enclosure. The only part that is not mesh is the doorway just here, because I've put some film over it so that I can see into the enclosure. Oh, got its wings out there, look. That's because it's probably startled by the other. Now again, these males are only in here to kind of end their life cycle. If they cause too much of a disturbance, I will take them out. I have considered using the males of these as feeders, as it's the last 3 that are just causing me problems, but I just can't bring myself to do it. So hopefully their life ends fairly quick in here for the sake of the black beauties. But it's either that or I stick them in a tub far too small for them, and I really don't want to do that. So to top it all off then, you need a well ventilated enclosure, at least 20 centimeters tall. You need to feed them at privet or Aucuba japonica, but I would stick to privet mostly if you can, and just thoroughly enjoy them. 5 months grow up time, 4 or 5 months egg hatch. Really, really simple, room temperature. They do like a day and night cycle, as do most phasmids, just for the understanding of when to feed. So, as standard, Peruphasma schultei are pretty common in the hobby. Let me know in the comments below if you own them, or if you've ever owned them, or if you're going to own them. If you just want your typical red wing variety, you can get eggs off of eBay, off of breeders. They're really, really easy to come by in the UK. If you want a specific pink wing variety, you may have to wait on me, unless you can find them elsewhere. But I will certainly be passing these on, definitely by generation 3.
So I hope I provided you with enough information on how to keep your Peruphasma schultei at home. They are a really adorable species, and although with Project Paradise I'm working more on rarities, they are one I highly recommend for people to keep. They're probably the best starter ones to keep for learning about spraying insects, so you know kind of when it's coming, what it looks like, how it feels. Don't deliberately get sprayed or irritate them for it, but they are a good beginner to getting into stick insects that do have a spray. They do not do it that often, so I handled a few whilst filming this and I didn't get sprayed once, unlike some of the other species that I keep, so just bear that in mind. But other than that, they are top beginner species. How beautiful are they for a beginner species? So make sure to try them out at home if you're getting into stick insects, or you want to kind of move your way up to the more spraying variety. Anyway, I think we're going to call it an end to this video. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me know if you're enjoying these Phasmid Files, and I don't actually have any more Phasmid Files planned ahead now. We've gone through a lot of the species that I currently own or have owned. There is a species that is growing up right now that I do need to do a Phasmid Files on, but I'm waiting for them to become adults because honestly they're not much to look at as nymphs. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye bye.